everyone. I'm Kendria. I need you to go like, follow, and subscribe. Soul Productions.
What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking.
What's up, everyone? It's another episode of Next Level Thinking. It's your host, Chris Holmes, as always. As you know, we always bring you inspirational guests to help you take it to the next level. Today, I have a special guest by the name of
Royce Lovett. What's up, guys?
Hey, so let's go hit the ground running and tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. I am a son, husband, father, songwriter. I'm becoming a speaker, if that makes sense. I never really saw myself doing that per se, but I found out that I'm pretty good at speaking and different narratives to different folks. So something else about myself. I've been doing music a little bit over 10 years full time. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and I like long walks on the beach and great food.
Cool. Good, a little bit. So we're gonna dive a little bit more deeper. Let's start with like you being a father and much more, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of parents out there that would love to hear about like your journey. So like, what has this journey taught you being a parent?
Oh, it's taught me that the journey isn't ever over. Yeah, man. Every day is my first time.
It's your first time?
Every day is my first time with a 7-year-old that has this question, and a 3-year-old that has this question. Every day is my first time being a dad. I think that fathers, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves from our fathers or our lack of fathering, or just the stigma that comes with being Black in America and trying to father, or I don't want to say trying to father, and fathering.
Pretty much like setting like the stage and like higher expectations, basically.
Yeah, I think we put a lot of stress on ourselves, but I was talking to my son one day, Levi. I had got really upset about something, and just kind of, to be honest with you, I wasn't really upset. I just reacted harshly.
Okay.
It wasn't something I should have been upset at, but my reaction made the situation upset. And I started realizing that, like, speaking with a softer tone will keep my temperature down, will keep my emotions down, and still gets the message across. But speaking with a harsher tone,
it elevates it to even higher.
Yeah. And so I was talking to him, and I was telling him that, you know, Dad shouldn't have said that the way he said it. And he was like, well, are you apologizing? Dad's apologized. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, so I said, Levi, you know what? This is my first time being a dad of a 7-year-old. And then he goes, no, Davi is your second son, so this is your second time being a dad. I was like, no, this is my first time being a dad of 2 boys. And so I think, always realizing that there's not a balance, always realizing that I don't have it figured out is the key to growth in parenting. It's been definitely a challenge and something for me that's made me grow in many ways in my life.
And I want to piggyback off of that, because he had 2 very strong points. Is, of course, starting off the softer tone, because, I mean, that can not only apply in you being a father, but also in personal life in general. Because there's a lot of times where we can have heated moments and you want just to get higher and higher and higher and higher, just like in a competition, but it actually makes it even much worse. But if you can just, control and just like keep a tone, and and try to like level it out, you can probably build that better communication and kind of like resolve it a lot more better than you just trying to like go after each other. So I feel like that right there is a strong lesson among itself. And another thing that you hit on too was basically, I'll put it like this: always being like a student, but like a student overall, but not only fatherhood, but in life. Because like my first time in this, first time in that, but it helps build you to become the better person that you need to become, to like either inspire your son to help him elevate or inspire somebody else who's watching. And that's the main thing, because I don't care how successful you get, you always learning.
Yeah, man, be a sponge in every classroom. I think that's the key to just learning how to communicate better, because everybody has their own way to communicate, their own language. Even if it's the same language, I'm trying to say that you receive love differently than someone else does, and correction differently than someone else does. And if we stay sponges in every area of our lives, then it'll just help us personally, as a teacher, as a father, as a mother, as as a best friend, as the CEO of a small
company,
or
small, big,
and because you have to learn how to connect with the people around you. A friend of mine said that your network is a reflection of your network.
Right.
Your net worth.
Right.
Yeah. And I thought that was, very interesting, because in order to grow a successful network, a successful family, a successful team, communication is key, and that's definitely been, I even take that inside the producing room or the writing room or the whatever room that I'm in. When you're trying to make a song that's relatable to someone, when you're trying to plan out a show that touches someone in the right way when they're watching it, it's all about communication and learning from each other.
Excellent answers. And I like how communication, I'm a strong believer too, is key to everything, especially relationships, business, but all across is just life in general. Because in order to like get your points or like help someone out or to get them to take an action, you got to be able to communicate with that person. Because kill communication is like, it's just like that. It's like, it's like, I don't know what you want. You don't know what I want. So we just sitting here, even if it's like by physical, verbal, and all this sign and all that much more. I mean, you got to be able to communicate with each other, get things across.
Yeah, man. Most def.
So adding up into that, what got you into music? So I want to go into the origin story of that. Like, what got you inspired?
I think music's always been around me. From my parents to church to what was happening in town to just
a lot of people starting church too.
Yeah, man. Just like music's just always been a part of the household dynamic. What got me into music, I think, was a coming of age conversation with myself and wondering if there's purpose to all this like, what is life about? You know what I mean?
I got to stop you right there because you have a strong one, because I don't want you to skip over this. And I feel like a lot of people got to find what their purpose is. And so the matter of fact that you actually had like that self-reflection is like, okay, let me bring awareness of like, who am I? Like, what am I doing here? Like, what is my mission? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And I feel like a lot more people need to do that more often so they can go to where their purpose is, instead of just being like, I'm here, but I'm not really living, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man, definitely. I think the easiest way to describe purpose to someone is it's absent of titles. I think a lot of folks think purpose is your occupation. Purpose is that thing you wake up and do every day that someone calls you. Someone calls you Dr. Smith. Someone calls you Coach Carter, which is a great movie. I watched it yesterday.
Yeah. So you said that, like, yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think purpose is absent of titles. I think if we fight for titles, we're scratching for security. And security is not purpose. I think you can't find purpose in security. I think the only way you find purpose is through finding love, finding out who love is, what love is, how to love yourself. And I think that's where you find purpose. For instance, like, I think a young girl can be growing up and just really have a heart for girls in our classroom that seem like they're down and out because they don't have a strong mother figure in their household. And that can develop over the years into, she's a great communicator of love. And that can develop over the years into so many avenues. Like, maybe she wants to be in nursing because she realizes this is a way that she gets like one-on-one opportunities to encourage health inside of your soul, mental, all that. Like, maybe she grows up to be a teacher or a professor, as she wants to have a direct connection to the younger generation that's going through things that she saw wasn't addressed when she was younger. Maybe she's the next president. I think whatever that occupation is, the purpose will never change. That she wanted to touch the lives of people that looked like her and that felt like her. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are looking for what purpose is. They ask that question: how do you find purpose? How do you find purpose? I think that's a very, very personal question. I don't think anyone can really tell you how, but I think the best direction is by experiencing a love that you don't understand, if that makes sense. When I'll tell you mine, and I know everyone has their own thoughts and beliefs on deities and creation, this, that, and the third. But 2003, me and my cousins, we played a game every time we went out of town. Who can get the most phone numbers?
Oh, man. Talking about a confidence builder right there. Yeah. Get somebody out of shyness.
So it was like the third day we were there in Tampa, friends and family and stuff. We're leaving the hotel, and we was trying to look all fresh. Had my 2 do-rags on with the spit down.
Oh, man. Do-rags? Oh, man.
Both colors on. Had my shades on. And I remember getting in the car. I took my shades off, and I had a sty on my eye.
Uh-oh.
My cousins, they were clowning me. They was like, nobody.
You ain't gonna get no females, man. That's gonna screw you. I can just imagine we're talking now.
So this is gonna sound real stupid, but I had this moment where I was like, dear God, you can take this off my eye. Like, I'll love you forever. And like a few minutes later, I remember going to the restroom with my cousin and looking in the mirror, and it was gone. And it messed with me all that weekend. I was like, man, I prayed for something and it happened. And it just messed with me. And so I was just like, wow, if this God thing is real that everyone talks about, then purpose must be real, because if God made us, then he had to make us with a purpose, unless we're just running around here doing nothing. And so in that moment, I started wondering about purpose. I started wondering about like existence and why do I exist? Like, why am I here? And a few weeks after that, I remember just having a conversation with God again, and was like, hey, if you're real and purpose is real, then tell me what's my purpose. And I
It's
know,
like you were calling it out. It's like, show me.
yeah, man, yeah, like, and I know this doesn't happen for everybody or whatever, but I feel like there's 4 times in my life I know I heard the voice of God, and I heard, do what you know, do music. And at the time, I didn't really think I knew music like that. I just knew I was always around it. I always loved it. I was always freestyling. I was always like writing. I was always,
This is
involved.
one of the things you were like, really? Like this? Because I guess you just didn't like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And for me, that was the getting into it, I guess. I don't know if that's like a dreamy answer that folks look for, but that was the getting into it, because I don't know. If you meet some of my friends, I've heard this. Like I even heard this yesterday. Like I said something, and a friend of mine was like, "I don't know about that, man. You just like a different breed, bro." And if you meet some of my friends, they'll tell you that I'm a very determined person, and so there was no plan B after that. There was no. I used to want to play football and box, and I really wanted to be the featherweight champion of the world, and there was just all the things just went out the window, and I just like was focused on music since then, just writing. And what do you do with music? How do you make money with music? How do you touch people with music? How do you turn this into a career? How do you, pushing forward that way? And I think the actual pushing force that sent me into music full time was kind of an issue of a few things. Now that we're talking about it, I guess I'll just say it. I used to work at a Radio Shack selling cell phones, and I remember that this dude walked in. I don't know who he is. I don't know where he came from. Never saw him in my life. I remember this dude walked in, kind of during the time where I was like, "Yo, I think I want to tour. I think I want to play more."
You were like in that moment, you're just kind of like, should I like? I think I want to. It's like that moment I guess that transition stage.
Yeah, just like in that space. Like I don't know if I was in that space for a few days or a few weeks, but I was in that space. And I remember this dude walked in. He was looking around, and I asked him if he needed help, and he didn't respond. And then before he walked out, he walked over to me and was like, "Don't you like music? Don't you like playing music?" And I was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Then why are you here?" And then he walked out.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of moments. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It also, it's like one of those surreal moments. Like, so it's like somebody was sent to you just to kind of like get the point across. It's just send you.
Yeah, like I don't even know, man. Like I don't want to put words in other folks' mouths, but it definitely felt like that. So when I got home, by that time I was married for like a year and a few months, and I got home and I was like, "Yo, babe," and then she was like, maybe a few days later, a few weeks later, I forget. She came home. She was in school full time at FAMU, yay. And she came home. She was like, "Yo, why don't you just quit and just do music full time, and we'll figure it out. Like, let's print up some CDs, sell them boys for $10 each. If we can sell 10 CDs a week, we should be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we can sell more than that, then that should be good." Like,
I want to add on to that real quick because there, that was like, of course, the message, because sometimes you got to get the message sent to you in a way that's going to like shock you. Like if you don't get the message right now from this, it's like, I don't know what to tell you, but sometimes you need something that's like different to be like, this has to be a sign, because a lot of times I've heard from other friends where they have this kind of moment. They're like, should I? And then I had that moment like you had, like, okay, that's big enough a sign it's time to make this transition. And the fact that what you're about to go into now is like the goal setting. So you had that moment where you were, complicating back and forth. You had a sign, and now you're like, all right, so if we're going to make this happen, how? And your goals.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think my wife has definitely been that for me. Like she's.
Go ahead and shout out your wife.
Yeah, man. Yes. She's been just a foundation because I'm definitely a dreamer. I'm definitely like, oh, we could do this, this, and this, and this. And she's like, all right, cool. Let's do it. How do we do it? And setting out that realistic goal, because it's like, yo, when I got married, that was my first time moving out. That was my first time like with rent, lights, Wi-Fi.
I'm glad you brought that in because now that reminded me what I wanted to say earlier. Stepping out on faith and outside of your comfort zone, you never really get to where you want to be in comfort. It goes back to what you were saying earlier about the security part. People are like, oh, but if I'm working here, I know this is going to be around. But the big things that you actually want in life, you can't really obtain that being safe. So
yeah, man.
Your store is going, I can see you getting outside the comfort zone. It's like, I don't want to settle. I want to go beyond that.
Yeah, man. I think that's beautiful for a lot of folks in a lot of places. Like once you take away the title away from your mindset, once you take away the fighting for a title away from your goals, then you're like free to have hills and valleys, peaks and valleys. You know what I mean? You're free to like say, you know what, on journeys, there are peaks and valleys. So who cares if this doesn't roll out the best way I think it's going to roll out? At least I'm on this journey and I'm seeing this really cool stuff and I'm doing this really cool stuff. There's like this, what is it? It's like a little story inside a book I read years ago called The Alchemist that I always think about. The boy thought that if he could just get to this rich ruler to ask him a question, the rich traveler would be able to answer this question for him. Mm-hmm. So he spent his journey getting there. He got there. He met the rich ruler, the rich traveler, and he said, "Hey, I just want to ask you a question." And the traveler said, "Cool, I'll answer it, but for now, hold this cup of water for me, and just walk around my house, go everywhere you want, just see all the stuff, and then by the time you're done, exploring the house, I'll be able to give you some time." So he goes exploring the house or whatever, and then he gets back, and the rich ruler is like, "All right, I can talk now." So before the boy starts talking, he says, wait, what was your favorite part of the house? And the boy said, your house is nice. I don't remember a favorite part, mostly because I was focused on making sure the water didn't spill that you gave me. And then he was like, who cares if the water spilled? Like, you just missed like an amazing house. Like, and I think his point of saying that was like, sometimes we're so focused on like, if we're going to spill some water, if we're going to mess up, if we're going to fail.
You miss what's right in front of you.
Yeah, you miss like amazing peaks and valleys. You miss like amazing, journeys. And I think that's something that I was learning in that moment. And I think I had to learn that a few more times. And I probably will learn that some more times because you'll get comfortable. And, we're so indoctrinated with Western thinking of
exactly
house, yard.
It's like the standard, like things of how life it should be. When I believe you should create your own destiny. Now, going back into the store, because after your wife basically said we can make 10, sell these 10 CDs a week and all that. What was going on next?
I guess during that time, it was just like, well, that's right. Like if I have to get out there and hustle,
Right.
I'm not gonna have a show every week, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to get a show and how am I gonna get paid? You know, just like figuring out all these things for shows. But I guess I'm legit gonna have to sell out the trunk, like go to the mall, walk around, go to the park, walk around, like go, you know, to the bank on Friday and as people walk out with the check they just deposited.
Man, you were on a really serious. And I'm glad you mentioned that because that is what it really takes. It kind of reminds me like Eric Thomas. I'm pretty sure you heard of him, like E.T.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How bad do you really want it? And the fact that you actually went out there and to the malls and stuff like that was showing like, hey, I gotta get this done. Because now with the internet and much more, most people are not going to hit the groundwork with the hard work. You know, that's what it takes.
Yeah, man, you'll see creatives blossom and you'll see creatives fade based on hard work. I think some creatives believe, some entrepreneurs believe that the internet's made it possible to be lazy. The internet's made it possible that I go in the studio, I make a song, I release it, everybody's gonna hear it.
Boom, I'm good.
Like, I was talking to someone last week, I was like, yo, it's still like selling sausages. Like, if you and I wanted to, you know, make a sausage meat company called, you know,
you gotta hit the neighborhoods.
Yeah, you gotta, you know, called Zoom meeting sausages. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna have to call Trader Joe's and Walmart and Publix and all these places. Hey, can we get out there and set up? Hey, can we you know, Circle K? Can I set up a little tent in front of such and such? Hey, can I come to this church function? Can I come to this city park thing? And you have to be in front of people. Sample. It's
just a hard grind, and that's what I tell people myself too. And I was talking to somebody earlier. I was like, before you really have a successful business, you got to have an audience. Because like, if you have a great, fantastic product, you know, but you have no audience or nobody's in the room, who you selling to?
Yeah, man, and we got to appreciate the audience for who it is. I know I meet a lot of artists, a lot of creatives that are just like, yo, how do I tour? And then, you know, you tell them and they're like, okay, that's cool, but how do I tour and play in front of, you know, a couple thousand people? And it's like, you're going to have to play in front of 5 people first.
You got to start somewhere.
And you're going to have to appreciate them 5 people. You're going to have to make those people feel like you appreciate
the best fans ever.
Yeah, 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Like going back to like selling sausages, like if we set up a shop, you know, a pop-up shop, and was like, yo, come by, it's Christmas time, come roll around here, and only 5 people showed up, we can't be like,
it's just 5 people, because, you know.
It's just 5 people. We're not going to put out no samples today. We'll be out here next week, bring a friend. Nah, you got to still smile, get them sausages, and get them they discount, be out there at XYZ. Because I've been on Facebook Live, Instagram and Facebook Live before, you know, when someone else is doing it. I'll just jump on to see what they're talking about. And I've literally seen like entrepreneurs and creatives be like, you know, there'll be like 2 people on and they'll be like, all right, there's like 2 people on, I'm gonna wait. And then, you know, 5 minutes go by, it's still 2 people and they're still waiting. And I'm like, bruh, like these 2 people are about to go off and you're gonna have 0 people. You're gonna have 0 people, and those 2 people like use that as a chance to like engage that audience. Be like, hey, I'm glad y'all got on, and matter of fact, I'm glad there's only 2 of y'all because I want to send y'all a CD. I want to send y'all a such and such. And can y'all like DM me y'all, you know, address so I can send you a gift, you know?
And I like that different. And that's like a marketing strategy too. And also you've been in a relationship with people, so you definitely dropping jewels on that. You want to appreciate everybody, you know, because you never know. Or like I don't know exactly. It's basically, you never know who's in the room. You may have just 3 or 4 people, but that one person out of that 4 can be like a top CEO or the biggest brand builder ever, and you would have never known. But if you just tossed them away, that could have been your breakthrough, but you blew it because you're like, this is for people, whatever.
Yeah.
You never watch them.
Real talk, man. And so I started just hitting the road in the city, playing at every open mic, figuring out how to actually get into like a venue and like a bar and like a club or a cafe or, you know, anywhere people are playing live music, like how to actually make that work. And it just kind of grew from there. I had to start thinking outside the box. And when I first started,
a lot of time that's what it really takes too. So yeah. Of course, like when you pretty much doing like, you know, Out the Trunk, you know, Sit on the Seas and much more. Now I was going through Instagram, so like I feel like this is pretty much building up the story to get to that point. But I saw, weren't you on a show? That's what it looked like on your Instagram, like America's Talent, something like that.
Oh, The Voice.
The Voice. So I know this is part of it. So like on your journey from selling CDs out the trunk, the mall, stuff like that, like what other things happened in between to the part where you actually got onto The Voice?
Oh man, that's still like a 10-year story almost.
Oh man, 10 years. And that just shows it just takes time.
Yeah, man. TV show competitions wasn't even on my radar because I didn't really think that was me. I always felt like a rapper first and a singer second. I never really felt like a vocalist. So those shows and those things never really were on my radar. I was always focused on making good music and traveling. To break down the story like shorter, you know, I realized that advantage I had was the guitar. So I started learning cover songs and mixing in my music with these cover songs. And that got me into paid gigs where, you know, it sucked, but it was like, you know, you play 4 45-minute sets at a bar or at a cafe and they pay you like $150, maybe $50. And I would do that like every weekend. And you don't sell CDs there because nobody's really listening to you. Like they're on the phone, they're texting, they're laughing at the bar. But that was bringing me a little income and getting my chops better. Then I started to learn how to captivate that audience. Because I was like, man, I can't keep playing these shows and not making any fans. So I started to learn like what to say on the mic, how to say something on the mic, when to be quiet. Like even like you can do a really cool like thing that catches somebody's attention with your vocal and then go really quiet and you will make the room get quiet to listen to you. And then as the room gets quiet, then you're like, okay, I got your attention. Mm-hmm. Let me do something else. And now I'm presenting to them like my music, and then I can talk to them and say, hey guys, thanks so much for coming, such and such, blah, blah. And I started to make those shows that were just cover song shows a concert. So developing my chops like that, playing too much in my hometown that it didn't even make sense anymore. And then I realized, you know, I hit the ceiling and I was like, hey, like I need to tour. So touring came after that, releasing more music, product control. Like I would put out a song, even if the recording sucked, just because I knew people need to hear something. And then when I got a little bit more money, I would re-record the song and then upload it and pull off the trash unit. And I would do that, like better photos, take off the other photos, put on more photos, better video, take off the old video, put on, you know, growing and learning like that, and then realizing that I need to tour. And so I started working on that and touring and getting out there somewhere in between a year and a half of quitting my job and doing music full time. I was able to get to Europe and play a tour for 6 months. And that turned out to be amazing. Came back home, had a better idea of my worth and what was going on, made more music, and just continued to grow like that. So I'm trying to speed up into the voice. Went to Europe maybe I think 5 more times after that. During that 5th time I was there, touring and still doing his music full time. Right place, right time. I got a phone call from 2 labels actually, Universal Paris, and that kind of fell through. I'm not really sure what happened with that. But in Motown, Capital CCMG out of Nashville, flew me out, talked to me. I thought about it for about 6 months. Long story short, I signed with Motown, and that was a whole new animal. Like learning like the industry, learning things like that. First year, didn't put out any music. Second year, did an EP. After that, EP. And there were some struggles there too, just trying to figure out like what does the label mean when they say they're trying to enhance something? Does that mean you're taking away me and putting in you? Does that mean like how does this work? Like, are you forcing me to do something else I don't want to do? Just learning a lot about the industry, how things work. Went on my first like major tour, and then made a really awesome album called Love and Other Dreams, which was my last album with those guys until I decided to go back independent. That's a whole nother story in itself, but I'm just skipping through. So I'm independent and I'm working on some new music and thinking about exposure. Oh man, I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff. I'm thinking about exposure, and I had just did a TED Talk at Berkeley.
Okay.
And when I got back in my hometown, my wife hit me up. She was like, "Yo, you just got an email from The Voice," and I was like, "Oh, I've gotten like 2 of those. I think they're just
like
it's spam. Just don't open it. It's probably a virus or something." And so she was like, "Nah, let's check it out, see if it's legit." So it was legit. They hit me up like 2 years in a row, and I just always did.
Wow.
So I was like, I don't know, babe. Like, I don't know if this is the right lane. I don't want my fans to think that I'm like selling out, or I'm afraid, or I'm scared, or whatever. Like, what if I do it and I lose? Like, are people going to be like, "Oh, he must not be talented," and just stop digging my stuff? Long story short, my wife was just like, she's always been like a push, and so she was like, "Boy, I think you should just like do it. Like, what if it's on one episode? Like, just one episode will put you in front of a whole another broader audience." So they flew me out. I did it. I got on. I got got 2 chairs. The way the show works is like you sing with the chairs facing the opposite direction, and if they like your voice, they turn around. So I got 2 chairs, Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton, and I picked Team Gwen, and that experience was just amazing. It was a whole another side of the industry, TV, that I never was into. And to try to answer your question better, what did it take to get from there to there? I think a lot of learned lessons and a lot of perseverance. When I was on the show, when it started airing, going back to just doing away with titles and trying to be purpose driven. There was like 2 times in my career where I just felt like, should I quit? Is this the right thing? Am I doing something wrong? And those thoughts all came to me because I became title driven. Like, I remember my first record with Motown did 48. One of the singles, Right on the Wall, did 48 on radio top 100. And I couldn't even celebrate that. Like, I've never charted ever, but because it wasn't like, you know, top 10 and I was going to be on radio tours and the song was going to get played more, I just felt like, oh, that sucks. That same EP actually charted on billboards at number 10. And I still was like, dang, that sucks.
Wow. Yeah. It's like the moment, like I didn't get number one. Do it again.
Yeah. And during those times in my life, I was just like, what am I doing wrong? People tell me I'm so good. Like, what's happening? Like, what's up? Just having those thoughts. The point I'm trying to get to is I started getting these DMs and these messages and just like from elementary friends, from like high school friends, from family members, from incarcerated people that have been in my life, all kind of saying, please keep going because you're teaching the world what perseverance is. And I started thinking about that and I was like, man, that's the goal. Like, that's the goal. If I can just help someone else persevere through their bad living environment that's not conducive for studying, but they have such a bright IQ. If I can help them persevere, if I can help, you know, anyone in any way persevere through thick and thin and hard time and trial, I was like, that's the goal. Like, that's why I did it. So what did it take to get up there? Man, it took a lot, but I think it took a lot.
Perseverance is like what it really keys on to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw this one, I guess I feel like I'm planting the seed, is I feel like you need to, like that whole experience can probably be like a workshop or way you can try to teach other artists, like the ropes. And
Wow, man.
I mean, I don't know if you can go with that, but
I would dig that.
Because I feel like your experiences are much more like from the grit and the perseverance much more. And that also taught me something too, is like, because I hear that from my own self, is like, you know, keep going, things like that. And I guess that's confirmation on my end. But I definitely feel like there's a lot of artists out there, young, really young, that just don't know what to do. Where you can probably fill the gap and help out with that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I appreciate that. I think that's a key. I was thinking about this a few days ago, like some of your favorite authors, some of your favorite movie directors, favorite artists. There's always someone that inspired them and you don't know who that person is. And I'm not trying to say I don't want people to hear that and think that's I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that you know who I am.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. And I feel like we want to be that person, like, you know what I mean? Mm. But there is something to say about the person that changed the heart of maybe MLK. Like, who knows? MLK might have wanted to be a boxer, but someone along the way inspired him to be MLK.
Okay. Just takes that one person.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe that one person was in that same place of like, why am I doing this? You're doing it so you can meet MLK and you can impart something to him and he can be MLK. Like, I think if we think about life as we're here to serve others and not we're here to fight over titles and fight to get inside doors and kick doors down and I'm in the room, I think that changes the game. And I think that definitely had a lot to do with where I am now and everything getting me from like label to The Voice to, you know, working on new records and talking to new things and being in the rooms that I'm in now. I feel really blessed and encouraged to have gone through a high and then a crash and then a growth and then like just understanding, being able to look back at that and see fruit and not see damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that right there. Woo. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because I think that's a really good point to end it off on. I'm gonna add a few more questions, minor ones, because everything within all you put in detail, I feel like just sets the tone by itself. There's a lot of jewels and information in pretty much persevering, learning, staying a student, and much more, and all that. The two little minor questions, then we're gonna wrap it up. Is because I saw another post on there where you had your first 1 million views, I guess, on YouTube.
Yeah, man. First 1 million views, first 1 million views on Spotify as well.
Awesome. Great accomplishments on that.
Thanks, man.
How did it feel to get, this is another one, the check mark? Because, some people get that little, that's my last little monocle. How did it feel get that on your Instagram?
Turn up. But to be real with you, it felt real good, but an hour later, it was like,
all right, back to life.
Yeah, because clout is not real. Clout is something we use to do some things, but that check didn't bring me a check. You feel me? Like being a writer for someone else, that song blew up. That brought me a check. You know what I mean? Like being grinding really hard and playing awesome shows.
That brought you a check.
You know what I'm saying? I had the check could have brought me a check if I was shady and opportunist. I ain't gonna lie, man. When I first got that check, I had over the course of a year. I know. In 1 month, I had maybe 400 DMs. So in the course of a year, just do the math. Even if you want the average, 400 times 12 DMs saying, "Hey, can I pay you to help me get a check?"
Seriously?
Yes. Real talk, man. Folks in all parts of the world, hey, if you can help me get a check, I'll pay you, $15K, $25K, $500, all type of numbers. In my head, I was I could be yo, here's my cash app. I got you. And then just be yo, I don't know what happened. My bad. What I'm trying to say is that, again, man, I think everybody's yo, I need a check. Yes. I think the only thing the check does is allow your conversation to seem a little bit more tangible or fruitful. For instance, if I reach out to someone and they see that I have a check, they're most likely they're gonna
be like, okay, I need to listen to this. Who is this person?
Yeah, they'll open the email, they'll open the DM or
DM.
If that person might have a bigger platform than I do,
but they see that and be like, okay, I need to answer that. Yeah,
might be okay, this guy's real. That's probably the only thing that check has really, really done.
But you still got to put the work in. That's what I feel. That's what I feel like you're going to is that may help, but it creates opportunity. But you still got to put the work in.
Yeah, man. And the check isn't even a cool story. I played South by Southwest. They booked me, and I always say South by Southwest. I played South by South, and
well, the next time you come, because that's in Austin, let me know, because I'm in Texas.
Okay, bet. And they hit me up and was like, yo, you're playing. Thanks for coming. Do you want to check? And I was like, sure. And it was all right. And then you woke up the next morning, you had to check. And then it was yo, let's go turn up. And then 30 minutes later, it was
all right, back to work. Sorry, so closing this everything up, another great episode, but where can they find you at?
You can find me on all the social media platforms at Royce Lovett, Lovett. I do like to respond. I do like to talk because communication is key, right?
Yeah.
So follow me, hit me up, engage, ask questions, all that. Let's be social on social media instead of just
antisocial.
Antisocial. and about the business. You feel me? Anyway, but yeah, you can find me on all those places, including all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, everything. Royce Lovett, Lovett.
Cool. And drop the mic as always. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. It's been another great episode of Next Level Thinking. It's your host, Chris Holmes, and I have my special guest by the name of
Royce Lovett. Appreciate it, Chris.
You're welcome. Make sure you subscribe, share, and much more. Get that motivation and positivity going, because we got to help everybody take it to the next level. Peace and much love.
The way